In today's what not to do in reselling and eBay, a $1.4 million stolen merchandise scam involving Home Depot and eBay and online reselling. Let's check it out. Hey everybody, welcome back into the channel. It is August 9th, 2023. Happy Hump Day, Wednesday afternoon from beautiful Tampa, Florida, just outside north of Tampa. Today, we're gonna talk about people that do bad things on eBay and reselling to the tune of $1.4 million and another guy at $300,000. These scams have gone on since the beginning of time, and it's why you have to be really careful when you source merchandise, especially if you're buying it locally off of like Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist or OfferUp. You have to be really careful, and there's a few tips that you can take, a few tricks you can do to protect yourself in the event that something like this will happen. So I want to go over and cover the news story, and then I'm going to come back and I'm going to tell you exactly how you can prevent these scams, these stolen merchandise, or any other issues from happening to you in your reselling and sourcing business. Let's go check it out. I want to thank the sponsor of today's video, ProEcommercelister, your one-stop shop for listing services. Simply take photos of your inventory, upload them into our system in our mobile app or website, and we do the rest. Titles, descriptions, conditions, item specifics, return times, handling times, and shipping policies. You simply price your item and make them live on the platform. Contact ProEcommerce Lister below at www.proecommercelister.com or email us at proecommercelister@gmail.com for full instructions and pricing. And thank ProEcommerce Lister for being a sponsor of the Rockstarflipper YouTube channel.
So this is actually from Fox 13, Tampa Bay. It's local to me. It's a Pinellas pastor. Pinellas County is Clearwater, St. Petersburg, Largo, Dunedin area. So it's a little bit to our west, over across the bay, out towards the Gulf of Mexico. So it's about 45 minutes from me, 30, 45 minutes. Former Pinellas pastor is accused of running a retail theft ring to sell $1.4 million of stolen goods on eBay. This was written by the Fox News 13 staff yesterday, August 7th, or 2 days ago. St. Petersburg, Florida, the former leader of a St. Petersburg church may have skipped over the thou shalt not steal commandment as authorities arrest him for operating a multi-million-dollar theft ring that spanned several Florida counties. So kind of funny. They throw up these 5 mugshots, which is former pastor Robert Dell up here in the left-hand corner. He looks like a nice guy, right? Jacqueline Barry Dell, which I believe is his wife. And then Karen Hurley Dell, which I believe is his mother. We'll learn about later. And then at the bottom is Daniel Mace and Jessica Wild. I believe they were boyfriend-girlfriend. And these are the 2 that are responsible for doing all of the theft. You can tell they look real good. And then the 3 that were in charge of, I guess, running the eBay operation. Authorities say Robert Dell, who's the former pastor of the Rock Church and operator of a halfway house for people recovering from drug addiction, shocker, I can look at these 2 right away and tell they were drug addicts at one time, if not now, is accused of working with 4 accomplices to shoplift Milwaukee, DeWalt, and other branded products from Home Depot stores throughout Citrus, Hillsborough, Manatee, Pasco, Pinellas, Polk, and Sarasota counties. So I'll give you guys an idea here. Let me show you. For those of you not familiar, Florida counties here in my home state here. Let's go ahead and pull this up, and I will show you guys exactly where they're talking about. So as we zoom in, let's go ahead and zoom it up here. So they are in Pinellas County. That's this one closest to the water right here. Hillsborough County is where Tampa's at. That's just to the right. Pasco County right across the line is where I live. And then Hernando and Citrus counties are up here right above it. And then the 2 they're talking about south are Manatee and Sarasota counties. So all the way up and down this purple area right here is where they were stealing from. And then to the right in Polk County, this is where you hear that Sheriff Grady Judd, who's always doing news conferences and arresting people and doing sex stings and all that stuff. Lakeland, Florida is here. Bartow, all that sort of stuff in Polk County. Kind of country here in Polk County. And then Osceola and Orange County, this is where you'll find Disney World right in the middle right there. So I'm over here. This is the counties down south, and this is Disney World over here, about an hour from me. So that's where they're talking about, that part of Florida here on the Gulf Coast. All right, back to it. So, and they would sell the stolen items through an eBay store called Anointed Liquidator? Anointed Liquidator. Gosh, sorry about that. Anointed Liquidator. It makes sense now because he was a pastor, right? Anointed. Authorities arrested Dell and 4 accused associates for stealing merchandise worth more than $1.4 million. According to the Office of Agricultural Law Enforcement, Dell's co-conspirators were Daniel Mace and Jessica Weil, that's these two, who stole the majority of the merchandise and on average victimized stores 5 to 6 times a day. They were going in 5 and 6 stores a day to steal merchandise. The suspected co-conspirators then delivered the merchandise to Dell's house to be sold on eBay, according to the Office of Agricultural Law Enforcement. Investigators say Dell used his position as founder of the halfway house to manipulate and threaten vulnerable people to take part in the scheme. These were definitely people at his halfway house. The Home Depot suspects, Dell operated this scheme for more than 10 years, resulting in the loss of more than $5 million. That's crazy. He sold it for 1.4. So what, about 24%, 23% of the MSRP? This is probably what it was sold for in the stores. And then we know that he probably sold it for this 1.4 million on eBay. Discounted, of course, because his cost of goods was 0. Attorney General Ashley Moody said, due to the success of Force, another retail theft crime ring is dismantled, and our statewide prosecutors continue to file charges against organized retail thieves. This pastor clearly skipped over the commandment, thou shalt not steal. Our Force task force shut down his criminal operation, stealing millions of dollars worth of merchandise from Home Depot stores across the state to resell the items on eBay. We will not tolerate organized retail theft in Florida, and my office will continue to combat these criminal organizations. The Florida Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services Commissioner Wilton Simpson said, I'm proud of our Office of Agricultural Law Enforcement making these arrests and ending a years-long organized crime spree. While some progressive states may look the other way or pursue reduced charges for retail theft, this operation sends a clear message that Florida is relentless in our pursuit of justice and will not tolerate this criminal activity. And he appreciates the investigators on and on and on. They partnered with Home Depot. Together, they continue to pursue a safer and more secure Florida for all residents and visitors. In addition to Dell, Mace, and Wild, the authorities also identified Jacqueline Dell, Robert Dell's wife, and Karen Dell, his mother, as conspirators who assisted in the collection, shipment, and payment of the stolen goods. Jacqueline Dell also faces a charge of conspiracy to RICO, and Karen Dell is charged with dealing in stolen property. I imagine his mom was probably doing like the eBay and the shipping, and his wife here was actually helping him with paying these people and conspirating. RICO is what he's facing, the racketeering charge. That's huge. Dell faces the charges of racketeering, conspiracy to commit racketeering, and dealing in stolen property as an organizer, which are all felonies. They're going to do some time, no doubt about it. Let me go back over to me. Let's cut out of this screen, and I'll tell you guys how to keep yourself safe from dealing with stuff like this in the event that they want to sell it locally.
All right, so as you guys could see, those young ladies and gentlemen decided that a life of crime was easier than running a legitimate business and making honest money. So what can you do to protect yourself? Well, if you are buying and sourcing merchandise online on places like Facebook, Craigslist offer up local, and you're meeting people that you don't know, one, always be safe. This is rule number 1. I recommend meeting them at a police station, who now mostly have places you can meet to do exchanges of goods and money, or meeting them at like a DMV. Our DMVs here in Florida, at least in this area, they have an officer there that does like vehicle inspections. He does all sorts of stuff at the front door. He's probably security as well. And he usually stands right at that front door. So you can walk up to the front door, message your person, and have them meet you right there. I mean, there's a police officer during regular business hours. If you're gonna meet somebody outside of business hours, like after 5 or after 6 p.m., or especially if it's going to be nighttime, only do it at a police station. Even doing it in like a Walmart parking lot is not really safe. People don't care you're in Walmart. They could care less. They will rob you. They will kill you. They will do really bad things to you. And this is a life lesson, not just for this, but outside of everything. Don't let the greed, don't let the, oh my God, I'm going to make a sale for $100 item, cloud your judgment. There's somebody else. There's always somebody else who won't rob you, won't kill you. If you say, hey, I want to sell a $100 item, can we meet up at the East Tampa Police Department? And they go, no, I can't do that. I got to work. I got kids. Look, if they want the item bad enough, they will find a way to meet you and do it on your terms, or you will find someone else, because either A, they're up to really no good and they're going to hurt you or do something bad, or B, they're a flake, or C, there's somebody who's bad news anyways and has warrants or something else. You don't want to deal with these people. Don't let that sale that you gotta have that sale make you go do this, because that sale isn't going to actually end up in you getting anything except in trouble or dead or hurt. It's not a sale. You have to program your brain to go, okay, now that I see that there's red flags, this isn't actually a sale. I have nothing to be excited about. Let me move on to someone else. So that's kind of a life lesson I can give you guys. So that's number one, rule number one. Rule number two is, if you are meeting someone and it sounds like too good to be true or not adding up or making sense. For example, somebody says, hey, I got this brand new saw at Home Depot. It's $300. I'll sell it to you for 40 bucks. That's a red flag one, when the deal is just too good to be true. But let's say you go through with the process, they're willing to meet you at a police station, whatever the case might be, and then all of a sudden they're like, well, I got 37 more. You want to buy 37 more? Boom, bam. If you bought one and then they offer it to you, take your one, cut line and move on, because nobody's got 37 brand new DeWalt saws or DeWalt drills for $40. There is no such program as, oh yeah, my buddy's a wholesaler for DeWalt and he hooked me up and I'm hooking it up to... It doesn't exist. There's no such thing. Rally Roots did a video years ago about like Bose headphones, and you can rewatch that video. It's one of their most viewed videos, and it was a nightmare, and that was way back in the day, and they protected themselves. Thankfully, nothing happened. And I've ran into this too, where somebody sold me a $400 tablet for like $100, and I was like, oh, this is such a red flag, but maybe, I bought it. And like an hour later, they messaged me and was like, do you want to buy 150 more? And I'm like, nope, not interested. Because immediately I knew they were stolen, they were fraudulent, they were something bad. Again, don't let the greed cloud your judgment and make you do something that's not legal or something that's gray or something that's going to get you in trouble. It's simply not worth the risk. We don't do that. Everywhere I buy, I have a receipt and I have a downstream and an origination of where all this material came from. My remotes, I know exactly where they're coming from. I have receipts and invoices and shipping BOLs and everything that I need. So that's rule number two. Rule number three kind of goes along with rule number two. You need to get identification. You need to get receipts, invoices, paper trails to protect yourself in the event that something does go wrong. You need a record of what you paid, who you paid, where you paid, how you paid, all of the above. In the event that something is wrong and somebody's going to go to jail, the guy that's going to go to jail needs to not be you, guy or girl or whatever the case might be. When I would buy stuff from people, they used to come into my old office, I would make them show ID. They'd be like, hey, I want to sell this saw for $100. And I'd be like, hey, that's fine. I need ID, and I'm going to write you a receipt with all your information. And at the bottom of the receipt, it would say, under penalty of perjury, I would copy and paste that legal thing right off Google. Under penalty of perjury, the merchandise I'm selling to you is known to me to be legal, not stolen, not fraudulent, the whole shebang. You can Google that up and find it pretty quick. And I would make them sign it and give me ID. Did people use fake IDs? It's possible. I'm not a driver's license expert. I did my best to kind of try to see the symbols and all. But I knew that if at any point the police came back to me and said, hey, it turns out that saw was stolen, I can go, whoa, hey, like I bought this from this guy. He said everything was cool, and I looked into it, and there was no record of, there's no way for, how was I supposed to know, right, basically. So protect yourself. And if they're not willing to give you a driver's license and sell you merchandise, cut bait, like goodbye. And let them know that before you meet them at a police station or wherever it is, if you have a place of business. Always protect yourself. So rule one, only meet in safe places. Rule two, if it's too good to be true, it probably is. Use your gut, go with your gut, and don't let it cloud your judgment, the greed. It's still greed. And rule three, make sure you protect yourself. Keep a record, receipts, transactions, cash, whatever it might be. If you are the one receiving cash, if you're actually selling something locally and they're giving you cash, make sure you check your bills. I have been taken one time. Thankfully, it was only $50 over fake bills. This guy was actually printing out fake $10 bills here in Tampa. He got arrested. This is 15 years ago, but he paid me for a $50 item with 5 10s, and I was just like, oh, 5 10s, great. Shoved them in my pocket, off he went. A couple hours later, I pulled them out of my pocket. I'm like, these don't look right, and I got taken. So it was $50. It is what it is. It was a lesson learned, but that will never happen to me again. And I tend not to take cash. I don't do cash transactions. I don't sell locally. I'll do Cash App, Venmo, Zelle, stuff like that. But if you know how to protect yourself with it. So that is rule number 3. All right, so as always, I appreciate you guys watching these videos. Don't get scammed, protect yourself, and don't be like the people earlier in this video and go doing bad stuff on eBay or to Home Depot or credit card or gift card scams or reversals or returns or any of that crap, because it is just bad business. It's illegal, and those guys are going to jail, and they're going to do some time. Those kind of charges, like wire charges, wire theft, wire fraud, all that sort of stuff, they can face like 15 to 20 years per charge, and then it's every item they charge, and then they end up plea dealing out where they plead guilty to like one of each charge, and instead of getting 15 years times 1,000 charges, they get like 15 years once. And so they could do some serious time, 5, 10, 15 years for the main guy. So don't do it. Crime doesn't pay. Whether it pays now, it'll pay you back a whole tenfold later. As always, guys, I appreciate you watching the video. And please, if you need us to make your eBay listings, your honest, legitimate eBay listings for your honest, legitimate products, email me at ProEcommercelister@gmail.com or Rockstarflipper@gmail.com. And the website is below, www.ProEcommercelister.com. You upload your photos into our system, and we do all the work for you, creating the entire draft except price, and you make it live. Thanks so much, guys. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. I'll see you all next time.